All right, the other day I head down to check the mail, and what do I see in the mailbox but a package from none other than ScoutCrafter. So I think to myself, all right, this is going to be pretty cool. John is always up to something fun. So I come into the shop, I open up the package, and what's inside but a knife with no handle. So I read the letter that ScoutCrafter has included, and he explains that he was watching a video by John Fix, and John Fix is showing an old EKCO knife that he has that he's inherited, and he says it's his go-to knife and that it's just great. So what does ScoutCrafter do? He heads over to eBay to try to find one of these knives to purchase, but instead he finds some new old stock of just the knife blades. So he purchased 15, I think came in the lot. And what he's done is he's sent these out to a bunch of different YouTubers, myself included. And I just want to say thanks to ScoutCrafter for including me in this challenge. This is a lot of fun. And it's a lot of fun to see what other YouTubers are coming up with, right? It gets the wheels turning. You want to do something creative with the knife handle, and you're trying to think, you know, what the other guys are going to be doing as well. So what I'm thinking with this knife handle is that I want to keep this in the style of the 60s and 70s, in that era when this knife was made. And back in that era, there was a lot of cool colors going on and a lot of fun styles like shag carpet. There was funky wallpaper going on. We had the Incredible Hulk running at us. And in the kitchen, there was a lot of appliances that either came in a gold color or an avocado green. And hence today, I'm wearing my vintage 70s green shirt. I am heading in that green direction. I'm gonna make a handle that looks a little bit retro for this knife blade. That is a green, you know, retro green looking color, that kind of avocado green. And I really want this knife to be a knife that I can put in my kitchen drawer and have for many years to come. So I want to make something of really good quality that's going to last a long time and outlast me, and somebody else will be able to use it. So I'm really looking forward to this challenge. So let's get busy in the shop and get working. All right, right on. All right, first things first, I want to start with the handle. And so I'm going to be doing a Micarta handle, which is made out of epoxy resin and fabric. And since this is a retro knife here, the EKCO blade, I thought it would go good with this old green, old-fashioned looking retro fabric that I have here. So what I did is I cut up a bunch of this fabric into rectangles. Now these are 5 1/4 by 2 1/2. And what I'm using to make this up, I got these little boxes here, and what they contain, this is a silicone bake pan. Right, these are just bake pans, you know, kind of a newfangled kind of bake pan that's made out of silicone. And right, you could cook a pound cake in here, some zucchini bread, banana bread, whatever you want. But this is great for a mold for the Micarta handle. Now the Micarta handle, right, it's just epoxy resin and fabric, and I'm going to make this about 3/8 of an inch thick. So I got the fabric stacked up here, right, and if I put the calipers on here, I'm just a little bit over 3/8. It can be a little thicker than that. And so the deal is you put the epoxy resin in here, you put one layer at a time. I'll put all the fabric, the epoxy in there, and then I'll sandwich it down in here. I'll clamp it, and I'll let this sit overnight. Now, what I'm going to use is the West System 105 resin. I've been using this type of epoxy for years and years. And this is the 207 hardener. Now, notice this is special clear. So this won't get a yellow brownish tint to the epoxy. This will come out very nice and clear. I got the mixing utensils here. I got a couple popsicle sticks. And so what I'm going to do here at first is just pour a little bit of this into the bottom of our silicone mold. And then I'll come in with this brush, just paint this around the mold. And now I'll start adding our pieces of fabric down into the epoxy. And then in between each layer, I'll just put a little bit of epoxy, just brush some of that in. I'll stick another layer on, and I'll keep going until I got all the layers in. All right, now I got all the fabric and I got the epoxy in there, and now I'm going to come in with our matching component here to our mold, and I'll put this right on top, start to push this down, and then I'll come in with a clamp on either side and just lightly start to clamp this. Just like that. All right, that's one mold down. Now I'll do the other mold. I'll let these dry overnight, and then I'll come back tomorrow. All right, it's the next morning, and let's see how our banana bread baked overnight here. So let's see. I'll just pop this off. All right. And then I can pop these two out of the center, just like that. Can pull this out. Pull this silicone mold off the bottom. And look at that, right? That looks so cool. Got that down to just a hair above 3/8. All right, I brought a couple knives that I have in the kitchen that I really like. Here's a Wusthof Trident knife, and I do like this handle, and it's 3/4 here, tapers down to 5/8. It's a nice grip. It's got the little hook. I kind of like that for it not slipping out of your hand. And if you looked at John Fix's knife that he had there, that had a little hook there too. Kind of nice. All right, let's take a look at the knife that ScoutCrafter sent. I really like it that he sends it in the birdseed bag. You know, I see these in all his videos. He's painting something on top of there, or that type of thing, gluing something up on top of the birdseed bag. And right now I got one in my shop. All right, the stainless steel Waverly Edge EKCO. So we got the tang, and I think what I have to do is to mill a slot into the handle with the milling machine. All right, so I'm just overlaying this knife onto the knife handle scale. This is kind of the general idea. The tang will be embedded into the scale, but now that I got this on here, I just want to trace this, right? This is this great Pica marker. Okay, the tang on the blade is 60 thousandths thick. So I'm going to take half of that. I'm going to take out 30 thousandths right here. And here I'm using a solution of Anchor Lube and water that I got mixed up, just spritzing it on there as I widen out the holes on the tang. And I'm widening these out and drilling through here, so this will accept the brass Corby bolts that I'm going to use to sandwich this together. Alright, I got 2 halves of the handle ready to roll. And I got the tang of the knife, and I'm going to glue this in there. I'm going to sandwich this in with some epoxy. I'm going to clamp it up in the vise and let that dry overnight. But before I do that, I'm going to scratch up the surface a little bit, and then I'm also going to etch it with some of this metal prep, this Por 15, so I can get a good bond to the metal with the epoxy. I'll take all the grip I can get on this. So, all right, I hit that lightly on the sander. Put some scratches in there. And now just for an extra step, I'm going to come in with this Q-tip and hit this with a little metal etch. You let this sit for 20 minutes or so. Another good way to do this is with Barkeeper's Friend. You can mix up a batch of that. All right, I just mixed up a fresh batch of the epoxy. I'm going to take a little of this for our fixed craft knife. And I'm just going to paint some of this epoxy right on here. All right, now I'll insert our tang right into the slot. Make sure our holes are lined up. I'll take our joining piece, sandwich that on. All right, now I'll drop this into the vise and give this a good squeeze. All right, it's the next day and this is all glued up. I got it back in the vise on the Bridgeport mill, and now I'm going to drill through these 2 holes. Okay, the pin I'm using for this is called a Corby pin, and it's threaded. So what I'm going to do right now is countersink this hole to accept the shoulder of this pin. Then I'll put the pin in and sand off the pin top and bottom. Okay, now I've got some nice countersunk holes on either side, and I'll come in with the Corby pin. So here's 1/2 of it, and I will push that into this hole just like that. And here I got another one. I'll push this into the other hole and seat it down onto that shoulder. You can see the threads in there, and see I have some compression area in there. Not that I'm going to compress this a lot. And I will put a little bit of red Loctite on the threads. All right, aren't those pins great? Those work out just perfect. And now I'll start shaping the handle. I don't know if you can see here, I started to scribe some lines on there. So I'm going to taper from this point down to right there. And I'm going to do that on the disc sander. got done hitting this on the buffing wheel, and it is looking fantastic. I like the feel of it. It's looking really smooth, but there's just something about it. I'd like to have a better sheen on this and have a little shine to it. And I wonder what's the best way to get a nice shine on this.
Okay, Chuck. I'll get him on the phone for you.
Somebody's calling on the phone. Hello?
Hey, John. It's Magdad.
Hey, right on, Magdad. How's it going?
Chuck wants to talk to you.
Oh, Chuck, eh? All right, cool. Put Chuck on. I'll talk to him.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Ah! Flitz it!
Flitz it? Oh, you don't say. You think I should flitz it?
Ah! Flitz it!
You think that will get a nice shine?
Ah! Flitz it!
All right.
Ah! Flitz it!
All right,
Flitz it!
all right,
Flitz it!
Chuck.
Flitz
All
it!
right. I'm going to get to work on that right now, and I'm going to put some flitz on it. So let's see. I watched Magdad do this. He put a little on the finger. All right, look at that. Doesn't that look deluxe? You know, Chuck and Magdad really know what they're talking about with that flitz. This just came out amazing looking. I'm really happy with the finish. All right, you guys had to know how I was going to test this knife out on the classic New Jersey's #1 sandwich, the Taylor ham, egg and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup. Look at that. Right on, right on. And let's try out the new EKCO knife with the retro green handle. Look at that. Just cutting right through that sandwich just like butter. I'm almost going through the plate. Let's see what we got here. Look at that deliciousness. That is top notch. All right, I want to give a big thanks to ScoutCrafter, John Fix, Magdad, and Chuck with the Flitz.
Ah! Flitz it!
All right, right on. I hope you guys are great. I got a sandwich to eat. I'll see y'all soon. Right on.